So today I'm going to be installing a new rear sway bar on my MK7 GTI. So I'm deciding to put a new rear sway bar on after having run an aftermarket one for the last 2 or 3 years, simply because of the bushings. Now, I previously had an Eibach rear sway bar, and I got a lot of squeaking. I replaced the bushings twice, and no matter how often I greased it, cleaned it, or whatnot, it would always squeak. And it's not as if I drive over gravel roads at any frequency. So it was all city use, and basically gravel dust and other dust would constantly get picked up and a squeak would develop. So I got sick of it. I bought another new set of bushings and I sold the old Eibach, and I decided to upgrade to the H&R sway bar. And the reason why is the bushings are Teflon. So this supposedly reduces the squeaking, and I was gonna get a front sway bar anyway, so by selling off the old one and buying the H&R kit, I didn't get set back too far behind. And yeah, I'm excited to try this out, and it's also kind of nice just to have a matching front and rear sway bar. So that kind of helped push me to replace both. I'll also be putting on a new set of Superpro rear end links. I already have these on right now, but I got a new set because this bushing actually broke under warranty. I think it's kind of because of my failure when I originally installed them, but they sent me new ones, so I'm putting the new ones on, even though I could probably just press the old one back with the vise. So I'm doing that. And then lastly, the rear subframe collars. So I'm doing front and rear dead set kit. So these basically just lock the subframe in place so that you get less shifting. And I'm going for a bit more track use this year. So I got the Racingline kit because it was pretty cheap. These are aluminum little washers. So not much money for what they are. And I think it's a really good choice. So I'm excited to install these and try them out and see how my alignment comes out after I do this. And then I also go through my front suspension stuff. So I'm gonna get into the install and go over a few of the key differences as I go along. So yeah. So first things first is I'm gonna take off the rear sway bar. So I have these Mark 8 dust covers on, so I'm gonna have to take these off. Then I'm gonna take out the bolt. Sorry about the glare. This bolt here, which holds the Endlink in. It's really hard to take the Endlinks off, or take the sway bar out without taking the Endlinks off, so I always just do it from here, because especially, at least with my aftermarket coilovers, I can't get in at all. But even with stock coils or, you know, larger coil springs in the back, it's just so hard, like why screw around? So it's much easier just to do that. And once I get that out, it's just a few Torx bits, or triple squares, sorry. I think it's an M12 or an M10 to take off these sway bar brackets. So those two, and then you can just lower down the exhaust by grabbing these two hangers and just like leaning it down, and then you can get the rear sway bar out. So that's basically all there is to a rear sway bar installation on this car. So that's super easy. And then following that, I will be doing the rear subframe collars. So yes, this is cheating, but I didn't buy this impact for no reason. All right, so sway bar brackets are detached. Now I'm going to take off the end links to get the sway bar out. These are 13 mils. You'll see here, I do have old Superpro bushings in, and you can see the rust developing on them. So you can kind of consider this a bit of a review. I'm obviously going to dose these in some undercoating this time, but like just taking a look at that, that's kind of what they look like after maybe 2 years of use. So we'll see once they come out. That's that easy. I didn't even have to take these dust covers off all the way, which I'm thankful for. So now that I have the swaybar links detached, the whole swaybar assembly is kind of mobile now. So I can just lower down this. I mean, look at it can hang. And now I can maneuver the swaybar out. I don't really think it's going to be possible to film this, just because I have the car on ramps, so I don't have a lot of vertical space. So I'll come back once it's out. So I got the old bar and the new bar. New SuperPro bushings, old SuperPro bushings. So how I like to attach these is I actually like to use an impact. They do have like a counter hold, but I find these are just so low torque that the impact doesn't really spin it. But the counter hold can break, so I kind of like to save that for an occasion where I might actually need it and I'll have no other option. This is from experience on the SuperPros. I guess whatever the threads are made of is kind of weak. So I'm gonna impact these on, and I'll do a comparison. So now that they're both on, you can obviously compare the thickness of the two. This is a 26 mil bar. I had the Eibach 25 mil. Maybe I'll show a picture of that. That was a squeaky bar. And I was running these SuperPros since I installed that. So it hasn't been that long. Like it's maybe 30 or 40,000 kilometers, 1 or 2 years. And these SuperPro swaybar end links are actually breaking down. Like this is the, this is friction fit onto here. So it's kind of like a tube that fits over this tube. So I could probably press this back together, but you know, it fell apart. And I hand installed all of these. So that's a super disappointing thing to notice, since these are like close to 200 bucks for these end links. Now I bought them from Australia a few years ago before they went up in price. So I didn't pay quite that. Maybe I paid close to 100 bucks, but they've gone up in price. The Australian exchange is worse and whatnot. So I used to buy them straight from Australia and save a lot of money, but now you can't quite do that. So if I were to go try and buy these again today, they'd be close to 200 bucks. And they barely lasted me 2 years for a set of end links. So I don't know that I would suggest purchasing these SuperPro end links. I used to be really big on SuperPro, but these end links busted, my front end links busted. All I'm running from them now is the camber mounts, which, you know, like nothing can go wrong. But that was hugely disappointing for me because my hope was that these would be, you know, kind of buy it for life type deals. But these definitely weren't what was squeaking with the Eibach swaybar, so I can confirm that. But other than that, I mean, the joints themselves are doing okay. It's really just this kind of bushing which does nothing, because it's just what the, what's it called, goes into? The bolt that holds it on. But yeah, like if I, wow, look at that. The second one fell apart as well. That's crazy. This one wasn't broken last time I Took the sway bar off like 2 weeks ago, so it's literally broken in this time. So yeah, official review of the Superpro bushings is they are not durable at all. That's a huge bummer. But other than that, I mean, you can see it's a bar. I do think this H&R might be hollow, like I banged on it with metal. Kind of hard to tell there, but I think it might be hollow. But yeah, other than that, this is all assembled, so we'll get this on the car and give it a go. It does seem too like it uses these same brackets, so I'm gonna have to swap them over. All right, so we have the sway bar in. Everything's tightened down. I ended up dropping my muffler because I have it cut, but you don't really have to do this. I'm just lazy and I wanted to undercoat some sections, so I said screw it. Instead of struggling, I will just take the muffler off since it's 2 extra bolts. So I did that, got the sway bar in. You can see all blue now, so it matches my Bilsteins. That's nice. And I got the new end links on as well. The end links are really the hardest part of this. I like to install the sway bar with the end links already attached, but it's just really hard to articulate these correctly. So some people will say to put the end link in first and then attach it here. The issue is you have to either counterhold or impact it, and you can kind of see, you know, I had the car underweight. I had it on the ramps when I did this before I started filming, but no matter if it is or isn't on the ramps, doesn't have weight on it or whatnot, with my coilovers, the way I have it adjusted, like I can't counterhold it. So that's the only way I see possible. But yeah, just trying to articulate it and shimmy it down is really, really difficult. But if you use these pry holes and you lubricate it, you can get it in. So that's really the hardest part. You can see the new bushings as well. And yeah, all fits quite nicely. Really hyped to feel this, especially once I get the front sway bar in.